Hey guys, welcome again to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast, YouTube channel, wherever you're finding this video or podcast. We have been doing lots of interviews. As you've noticed, Amanda has been on vacation or something. I don't know. No, she's not on vacation. She is actually working behind the scenes because, she's a smart one and got to do all the stuff that you guys don't realize. She's put me in charge of interviews and doing all the fun stuff, which I like to do more. Anyway, it's my magic power sometimes. So I'm doing the interviews lately. And today I got a really amazing guest all the way from way up north in Canada. Her name is Michelle Nedelec. She has over 20 years of experience in executive coaching, working with clients ranging from 8 figures to solopreneurs. As you know, we are solopreneurs and we work with those people too. And we are becoming those people, right? And she runs the creative side of her Infusion Done For You marketing tech service company, helping entrepreneurs set up and maintain their Infusionsoft. And through her company Awareness Strategies at awarenessstrategies.com. So she's a really good person that knows Infusionsoft. I won't use other names that I've heard. I've never used Infusionsoft, but I'm sure she's heard of those other names that it's used for, I guess. So welcome, Michelle.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Even if you don't like Infusionsoft or something.
I mean, I've never heard it. I use Zoho. The reason I've used Zoho, and you guys can learn and see, the CRM is amazing. Whatever CRM you use is very, very powerful. It's a customer relation management database. For those people who are like, CRM, what the heck does that mean?
Who to what?
So CRMs are a way of following up, because you think all of the follow-up when I reach out to clients and with people, do you think it's all in my head? No, it's not. It is in the CRMs. We use Zoho mainly, and I was going to say my mentor used Zoho, and I could pull all of his stuff into my system and get all of his emails and almost his whole system, which was really easy. And I'm like, I guess we're stuck with this one.
Done is a good way to go.
Yeah, I was totally done. I was like, all right, we'll just change that. And that was pretty powerful stuff. So tell us a little bit about you. How did you get into doing Infusionsoft and becoming an expert there?
Right. So I'm Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for having me. And I am the creative side of our company called Awareness Strategies. And the tech side of my company is my partner in business and pleasure, as we like to say. And I used to do personal development training. So I was a speaker and spoke on understanding success, how your mind creates your results. And in about 2015 or so, we had to pivot one way or the other. Messaging for that just didn't work online. So it was, do I want to go specifically into executive coaching? Do I want to go into how to become a speaker? Like, it wasn't that the content had changed so much as we needed to have a certain focus on it. And we were in a mastermind program working on how do we create that messaging? How do we do all of those fun things? And I said, clearly there's an issue with the tech side of things. Like, most of these people are scrambling, trying to figure out what CRM stands for and how to spell it. And meanwhile, my partner is in big tech. So he was getting, multi-million-dollar projects of, we want software that does this. And he would come up with this, how many people you need, how many servers, and it's going to take so many years to do it. And he was kind of done doing that at that point in time. So I said, let's just pivot into this side of the arena because clearly there's need. So that's what we did. We jumped in there. And we found that a lot of the advice was, oh, you need a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of the other thing and put it all together. And you create what I love to call Frankenware. And, Frank and I had this lovely relationship. It was a little love-hate relationship. And Brad came across Infusionsoft and went, I'm thinking of moving over here. Do you mind? I'm like, you use whatever you want. I couldn't care less. Just get it done. And I'm thinking that's a position a lot of people are in. It's like, I don't care what does the back end. I just want it done. But what we found was that this particular CRM was fantastic in that it's database driven, meaning that the customer's data comes first, not as a secondary to the email campaign or to the purchase, which a lot of CRMs right now do. They are very much transactionally focused, and it's really hard to figure out how to get back in touch with the customer and nurture that relationship. And believe it or not, that becomes an important part of your business if you want to upsell, cross-sell, downsell, do other things with your clients once you have them in the system. So this one in particular did the emails, it did the shopping cart, it did affiliate marketing, it did a whole ton of things all in one system. And we could go in and cross sell, upsell, and have all sorts of decision bases. So that's why we got into that one in particular. But I just love the whole idea of helping businesses get online because I think it's paramount right now.
Well, and it's scaling your business. Again,
Mm.
I have not used Infusionsoft, but I've used Zoho, which is a very similar, I would assume, in their makeup because it's just one is from another country, I bet you.
They're different.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
both have their quirks and different things, but
exactly.
like, how can we use the data that we put into it to grow our business, right?
Exactly.
And use the other pieces and build a foundation
Mhm.
that then you can say, all right, as I grow, I might be able to add this piece on. And I've heard people call Infusionsoft, what they call it, Confusionsoft. And I'm like, well, no, maybe it's just because you haven't used that piece or know how to, and they give you it, I would think, probably a lot. And you just need to think analytical, right?
Which is easier said than done for sure. So I totally agree that it is a very robust system. And if you're not using it every day, it's confusing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I say, if all you need to do is go to and from work, all you need is a Honda Civic. I mean, it'll do the job.
Yeah.
And you don't need one of them really swamped up ones. I'm not calling down Honda Civics. They can be super fun. And if you have a more complex business and you need logistics, you need heat, you need cold, you need to have an 18 wheeler. Just because you can drive a car to and from work doesn't mean that you have the
Mhm.
capacity to drive an 18 wheeler. So Infusionsoft is kind of the same way that it has a lot of capacity to
Mhm.
be able to do a lot. And it also has a capacity to break a lot if you have just enough knowledge to be dangerous with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why we do it done for you because we have a whole team of techs and writers and creatives and to be able to do this. And a lot of people are going, oh, I'll just get a VA to do it. And it's like, wow, you need a unicorn
Yeah.
is what you need because even internally we have people that specialize in the campaigns, in the logics, in the in the different areas of it. So when somebody says, hey, can you do this? Our answer is yes.
Yeah.
And then we just figure out how to do it and how to get the right people in place to make it happen.
I'm one of those people that can never figure it out. And my wife is like, for example, Excel
Mhm.
is a great tool. It can do a lot.
And it can do a lot that 90% of the population has no clue.
Yep.
And especially when they start getting together and they start saying things to each other, and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking
Well,
about.
and my wife, I would consider more of a power user.
Yep.
And I will tell her it's broken. And she's like, it's not broken. You're
Yep.
broken.
Aw.
Usually, or something along those lines. And that's usually how it works for me. I'm not very techy, as you might know, even in talking about this, the CRM stuff. I just want it to work. And I'm like, hey, can we do this? And they're like, oh, great. He comes up with another idea that we don't know how to do, or, we figure it out. And they've told me literally, we have apple pie recipe and you're putting paprika into the recipe when you screw up the system. And that's been fun to be able to say, hey, you need to get out of the kitchen pretty much. Right?
Just
Uh,
step away from the software.
and don't do this. Just do what we put in the thing, follow the process. And I think that's good, but I think it's also hard. But again, in businesses, you talk about this. You have 4 S's that you talk about that I think goes into, when people are business owners or entrepreneurs, they have this great idea.
Mhm.
They are Twitter pated with this idea, probably, and like me, and then they have to actually make it happen, which that's where most of them fail, I would
Yeah.
think. They get stuck in the minutia of anything. And so, can you walk through your system? And well, one of the words is system, but walk through your S's.
Absolutely. So to us, scaling a business requires strategy first, then systems, support, and state of mind. So let's back up the bus a little bit. Before you get into scaling a business, you need to go through the startup phase. And the startup phase is when you have that idea and you're just trying to figure out how to make it work. It's like, I think people might need this, and I just have to go and find out who these people are and go and find them. Not the best way to start a business, but that's usually the way most people start the
Yeah,
business.
right.
Best way to start a business is, hey, these people keep asking me to solve this problem for them, and I have the wherewithal to do it. Let's start a business. It's the better way to do it. So in the startup phase, we're trying everything and anything to get a hold of anybody in any way, shape, or form. And eventually we start to figure out who is ideally fit for our solution and
Yeah.
how we articulate not only the prospecting conversation, but also the sales conversation and the fulfillment conversation. That's when we can move into the growth phase of our company. And that growth phase is we're consistently having this conversation with prospects, this conversation with people in sales, this conversation with people that are buying a product, and this conversation to get more referrals and more upsells.
Mhm.
And we just do more of that. Then once we've done that, and we can do it not only internally with our own clients, we can do it externally with more markets. Now we're going to move into cold markets. And that's when we start scaling things. And that's when you start to have that upswing of your business growth, because now we've got a system that works. We know it does. And it starts with the strategy of who we're working with, where we're getting a hold of them, all those sorts of fun things. We have the systems in place that are working. We now look at the support of who we need to get in
Mhm.
on helping us create those ideas and those solutions. And then, of course, the state of mind, which is omni important when it comes to entrepreneurs, because we have to learn how to get out of our own way and allow our ideas to come to fruition. So that's when we start scaling.
So we have three
Strategy, systems,
strategies.
support, and state of mind.
I'm going to put these in here for you guys: strategy, system, support, and state of mind. So I will use my own business as an example. So we started our business 4 years ago, and it was me and my wife, which is good to have a business partner in the very beginning because most people are solopreneurs doing it on their own. And then they don't even know the strategy in general. They're just kind of hoping sometimes, but having a team anyway, that's helpful. So in business ownership, and I think you had a podcast on this, the first 4 years is almost figuring out what the heck you're doing, and you're cleaning diapers like a baby, and you're like, man, can this thing ever like do it on its own? Whatever. You do not sleep. Those kind of things are happening, and you're in there. And usually this is where you need to have a coach, for me, or somebody on your team, because 2 years into it, you're like, what in the heck am I into? Why did I do this? It becomes super hard. And that's why most businesses fail. They think they're an adult when they're an infant, right? Really.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to know that at every stage in business, it's important to have a coach and potentially a mentor if possible.
Mhm.
So if you can find somebody that's done it, been there, bought the t-shirt, it's way easier to learn from them and to avoid the mistakes that they made and to do the things that they caught on to faster,
Yeah.
earlier.
Right.
And once you change from the startup phase into the growth stage, it's possible that the coach that got you to where you are isn't necessarily the one that's going to get you to the next phase. It's okay to change coaches and to strategy up when you need to.
Yeah, well, and again, this goes back to my CRM thing. I had his stuff a little bit, and then we're like, oh, we're smart. We could do this. We're going to do our own thing. And we moved from this CRM to another one, and it was a disaster. It was horrible. And we're like, oh, we need to go back. And we had to, because we thought we were all that in a bag of chips. And we're like, wait, he has the system. Let's
Yeah,
implement it.
sometimes reinventing the wheel isn't such a good idea. It's a wheel, it works. Just keep
But,
doing it. But
but
we
as
get
an
bored, right?
But as an entrepreneur and business owner, let's face it, most people
Mhm.
want to reinvent the wheel. And we're like doing that. And people like you come and say, stop reinventing the wheel. So, your strategy, tell us a little deeper going into strategy. When you meet with a client, what's the first thing you ask them?
Is what you want to achieve in your lifestyle. So it's not so much what you want to achieve in your business. Let's back up the bus again. Who do you want to be as an individual? Do you want to stay an entrepreneur, which is great? And the differential for me between a entrepreneur and a business owner is entrepreneurs are very much the idea person. They come up with these ideas and they'll tend to go it alone. They'll figure it out as they go. And they tend to have ideas of, it's never been done before. How do I do this? Which is awesome. Then business owners, you can evolve into a business owner or you can sell your business to a business owner. Business owners tend to not like to reinvent the wheel. They just want to buy a wheel and make it go as fast as possible. And you can become a serial entrepreneur where you go from entrepreneur to business owner business meaning that you have a team of people that you're working with and that they are doing their thing to the best of their abilities. So it's not so much to me of they're better or one's lesser. It's just the way in which they operate is different. One depends on a internal team to be able to get things done. Entrepreneurs tend to depend on external teams to get things done. Both are awesome.
Yeah. And I think that knowing yourself and this idea of reverse engineering, figuring out who you are as an individual, what kind of business you want, asking those key questions really helps, right?
Right? If
Before,
you want a laptop lifestyle and you want to be traveling 12 months of the year, awesome, fantastic. But running a retail outlet probably isn't the best way to go about doing that. And by probably, I mean like it's not.
and hence why we sold the business and moved, because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm a caretaker and I'm about to have a newborn. I was
Wow.
like, I think we need to make a shift. Probably this lifestyle isn't going to work. And when you run a coffee shop business, you don't make a lot of money. I could eat ramen a little more, but I didn't want to put that in a kid, right? Or not good ramen, those crappy ramen packets every day. That would be,
You've outgrown the college
yeah,
diet.
I have, yeah. And then the systems, but one
Mhm.
building those systems, that's probably using the CRMs or whatever pieces. I'm assuming like tech or people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that systems is somebody can think that they have no systems, but if they have clients, they have a system.
Yeah.
If they're in business and then, well, even if they're in business and they're not getting clients, they still have a system. It's just a system that doesn't get clients. So we need to look out what are you doing on a daily basis? How is information coming in? How are you connecting with people? If you do networking events and things like that, that in itself can be a system. And how do we maximize those systems so that you're doing less and less work and
Mhm.
you're getting paid more and more? So it can be looking at profitability of certain products. We want to make sure that you're selling your high profit products as opposed to your high revenue products because high revenue products may have high expenses attached to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just because you're selling a lot of them and you have a lot of cash flow, which can be good, if you're losing money on every transaction, that is definitely not good. So we want to look at your profit margins and your scalabilities, and we want to look at this thing called a ladder of ascension. And basically what that is as somebody gets to know you more and more and they take a step up with you in their commitment level, whether that's their time, their money, their data,
Mhm.
they're getting more and more from you. And how does that ideal transaction look? Some people may jump to your high end products right off the bat, but you still want to have that ladder of ascension in place so that your ideal client is getting a hold of you in their ideal manner so that you're increasing your profitability and you get to create that laptop lifestyle if you want, or the time to go and start another company, whatever it is you choose.
That's been the challenge for me. I do a thing with life insurance, and
Mhm.
I help people set up properly designed life insurance. And the biggest part about this, literally, I come from stranger to educating them and literally asking for their blood. That like you can't get any more like asking a lot of them. Like literally, in order to even get an application done, you got to do this.
Mhm.
And my biggest challenge is I went from coffee, $2 to do you want sandwich ascension to a bigger thing to do you want to buy a latte equipment, right? Something like that.
Mhm.
And this one is like, all right, how do I go from here to people just knowing to, education? And that's been a big challenge of ascension or descension to get them into the pipeline. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does. So, one of the reasons that people tend to buy franchises or assist a licensed system is because somebody's already gone through that learning process. They've already gone through the spaghetti marketing stage of let's throw stuff against the wall and see what works. And when they have a system that works and you're buying into that system, as we were talking about earlier, you want to make sure that you apply that system. So in your business, you may not have a mentor. You might not have bought a franchise. So you're going, okay, so what do I do? There is still a proven system of how digital marketing works best.
Yeah.
And it works best in certain industries. Like the SAP industry, for example, software as a service is what SaaS stands for, is in that industry, they have honed in on exactly how to message their system the best, how to get affiliates, what words to put on the landing page, All of those sort of things have been mastered. And then the online marketing world took those and said, okay, how do we apply that to shoe sales and cupcakes
Mhm.
and we've created these systems that tend to work. And it's just a matter of you bringing in your special sauce and going, okay, so this is my uniqueness. How do I apply these systems or that system to my business? And that in turn comes to finding the support of somebody that's done it, been
Yep.
there, has that digital marketing expertise that can be able to tell you to look at what you have and go, yes, here's your kind of ideal route. Here's how way we could go. Let's move forward on this and try not to put too much paprika in the cake, unless that's your choice.
This is that power of mentoring. Like when we started our cafe, my wife interned at a coffee shop for about 6 months, where she just learned everything. And the owner of that shop took a vacation and she was in charge, which is a good example. But then when things got hard, we'd call them sometimes, right?
Mhm.
And most of the time, they wouldn't be able to help us. Maybe, it was like, I had a bad client experience, but they were there to support and say, hey, that sucks. Get back up and do it again. Right. And then also support staff and all that. One of the things I noticed is you put state of mind, and you mentioned this in the beginning, like state of mind is last, where a lot of times people put state of mind first. Why do you do that?
Great question. I suppose in a certain way, you could say that it's first in that you have to decide how you want to set up your business and your lifestyle. And if you don't realize that there are endless possibilities on how you might be able to do that, then that state of mind does essentially come first while you're working out your strategy. So you need to know where you want to go. So say you decide you want to have a laptop lifestyle, but you've never had one before. You've always worked in a corporate position. You've always been climbing the corporate ladder. There's going to be a huge mindset shift in being able to give yourself permission to have a laptop lifestyle. One, that you're going to be doing conversations and interviews in places that you're not familiar with, that you don't necessarily have the best tech setup, that, you're in an airport, your flight's being called, and you're in the middle of a meeting taking notes and giving yourself permission to say that's okay. And my clients actually respect me when I do that because I'm leading by example and I'm showing them this is how you create that lifestyle, especially if you're teaching other people to create that lifestyle. It becomes paramount that you give yourself permission first. So whether one comes first or second or third or fourth is kind of you'll figure out how that happens in your life and then it becomes cyclical.
Yep.
So now you change this strategy or you upscale or you give more details to the strategy and then you realize that you need more systems in there and then you have to find the support to be able to make that happen. And then you have to work on your mind to be able to go, hey, it's okay. We're going to figure out how this works or whatever needs to happen in order to make those changes. And it becomes like a daily cyclical event. Sometimes
I,
it's hourly.
yeah. I think about that. We created a method we call the still method.
Mhm.
And the method is a reverse of chaos, which is confusing, haphazard, anxious, overwhelming, and stressful, which is the world right now. And then the acronym we've thought of is still method. And it's set your sights, track your in and out, inspect your progress, look for 1% adjustments, and live deliberately.
Nice.
Then you go back through. Live deliberately means you go back and you set your sights, track, inspect, look for 1% adjustments, and live deliberately. And some people are like, oh, yeah, you just do it once. I'm like, no,
No.
you do not. And it's not always money. It could be what kind of life do I want? Do I want to have a healthy marriage? So, okay, set your sights and go
Mhm.
through that. So this system sounds similar to our still method.
Yeah. And I love it.
Yeah, and sometimes it seems like you're stopping,
Mhm.
but you're not. When you're thinking about your state of mind and you're sitting and I'm reading books on how to like not be busy, which is really hard as a business owner. But like, what does that guy say? The road less stupid, thinking time, to have more thinking time. And that's the state of mind, because then you can go into something a little better than in a rampage or something.
Absolutely. Being busy is one of the biggest fallacies in business is that you're not productive when you're busy. In fact, you're diminishing your business's capacity when you're busy. And you want to be able to figure out, am I just trying to satiate, this idea or notion that I'm not allowed to relax, that I'm not allowed to take downtime, that I'm not allowed to delegate, that nobody can do it as well as I can. Whatever the thing is that's going on in your head that says being busy is better than being productive, because they aren't necessarily the same. And in fact, in most cases, you're far less productive when you're busy, no matter how good you are at a thing. I mean, if you look at somebody that has a black belt, for the most part, they're watching what somebody else is doing, and then they go really fast to do the thing. They're not just going all over the place, haywire. That's just not how it happens. But the ones that don't have even their white belt, those are the ones that are running around looking like mayhem and chaos. And to your point, the opposite of still, because they don't have the wherewithal to be able to know what they're looking for and how to accurately place their intentions so that it becomes effective and meaningful, which is the same in martial arts, same in business.
And same in learning Excel and doing all of that.
Exactly.
Because I've learned I'm going to get frustrated and it's going to annoy me and it's going to take me a lot longer and I look busy. However, if I have the right strategy and system and support, it can be done in way less time and I could have other meaningful conversations that'll bring in revenue versus Excel is stupid or whatever software we want to put in there.
Exactly.
Those are some things I've learned over the past few years. And I would say being in the coffee world, right? I was the front of the house person, meaning I would be talking to customers, dealing with that stuff, making sure staff didn't do something else crazy or whatever. While my wife was more back of the house. And so understanding how the front of the house, back of the house works or payroll, I have one staff person. I told them, if you ever ask me about payroll, I'll make up something because I don't know. And he asked me one day, he's like, it's a holiday, so when do I get paid? And I made up something like crazy. And he looked to the calendar and came back a couple of hours later and he's like, that's not even possible.
Then don't ask me.
Don't ask me because that's not I have no idea. You know who to ask. Anyway.
Well, and it's so true because it happens in business as well. We look to the wrong people to give us the advice that we need. Not only the employees to the employers, but employers are going to the wrong places and asking for advice. So they'll go to somebody that specializes in Facebook ads and say, how do I run my business? Well, of course, they're going to tell you that, run Facebook ads. They're going to be awesome. And it's not necessarily true that you're at that point in your business. So you want to be working with people that understand business as a whole and understanding where you fit in and have the ability and the wherewithal to be able to say, hey, we're not necessarily a perfect fit, but I know somebody who might be, or go find somebody that does this and that'll get you on track. Being able to understand how businesses in their entirety work and being able to get the advice that you need from somebody that has the wherewithal to be able to give you that advice, right? Some people will hire a VA and go, oh, hey, go take care of my marketing for me because I don't want to put out my social media ads and I don't have time to do this stuff. Well, they're just putting stuff out. They don't necessarily know that, there's a strategy for this and there's a way to be able to do it as effectively as possible to bring you the leads that you need when you need them.
How then do you, and you're in this world, but there's a lot of, what do you call it?
Marketing?
Marketing and coaches.
There's a lot of marketing in the marketing industry.
And all of this, and everybody's doing all the same stuff. How can you figure out as a business owner, and I've had this, I've hired several different people and I'm like, all right, it's the who, not how. I'm going to hire that whole thing. And then it goes horribly wrong. And they say, oh yeah, sorry, I couldn't do it. How do you vet that?
That's a great question. And for the most part, I say question more than you pay, or at least before you pay. So question a lot of things and get enough understanding to be able to differentiate between what different people in front of you do before you start spending money on them. More often than not, people will go, oh, that sounded really awesome. I will buy that thing. And they don't really understand how it fits into their business. When you back up the bus and you start to look at, again, what are your goals? What do you want to achieve with this? And what is your ideal strategy to be able to attain that? Then you can really empty out all other possibilities. So in our systems, we get people to have a website. They need a WordPress website, so it has to be functional in the back end.
Yep.
And in our case, we suggest that they use Infusionsoft because we will do the work for them. That's it. That's all you need for the most part. And people will try and complicate and go, oh, no, you need this and this and this because that's what they're selling. And it really just comes down to that. Now we figure out what your ladder of ascension is. How do we get it out to your audience? How do we then bring those results that are more consistent out to the world that can provide services for you or provide a tribe that they already know exists?
Yeah.
You're getting your affiliates working for you, and then you can go out and do your ads and things like that. So you're building from the hub out, but you're not building out until this piece of it is working and it's proven. And then you get to go out to the next step and the next step. And it's not just about spending money, it's about making those decisions and sticking to them and giving yourself permission to say no to everything else until that becomes proven.
That's awesome. That's really, really good that we need to share to ourselves, really. So I wanted to show people this is her website, awarenessstrategies.com. Anything you want to share about this site or you want me to point people to?
Absolutely. So you can go to on the homepage, there should be a
Yeah.
website audit.
Let's see here. I'm now on the home.
There we go. And then just down a little bit.
Yep.
So with your website audit, what we'll do is we'll give you back a 30 to 40 page report on what you're doing right. So what Google deems is good and gets you more traffic, where they're putting up yellow lights for you and they're slowing down your traffic, and where they're putting up red lights and saying, absolutely not, we're not going to send any traffic to this website. That is paramount, because
Yeah.
if Google stops you, then nobody's finding your stuff, even if you send them to the page, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Also, you want to start looking at what kind of opt-ins you can get, or what kind of tidbits of information your ideal clients are looking for to get from you, so that you can start to give them an idea of what it might be like to work with you. And then they go, oh, yeah, that sounds awesome. And what's my next step? That's kind of the question you want your clients or your prospects to be asking you all the time, so that they're moving forward into that buying role going, hey, I know you, I like you, I want more of you. How do I get it? And how do you as a business owner make that as easy as possible for them to get more of you and to pay you more money?
That's what we want, right?
Right?
Awesome. I like this. Again, it's free there. And then the tech assessment, I think that's powerful. And you do more than just website audits, like, that CRM, email marketing, social media, the thing that I wish we didn't have sometimes. And if I hear one more thing of another thing that I need to be on, it gets annoying.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to know who your ideal client is and where they hang out. So
Yeah.
if they're on Facebook, great, Facebook. And how did they consume information? They might be on Facebook, but they like to read. Great.
Yeah.
Then all you need to do is provide things that they can read. They may prefer video. So great. You just have to provide the video. So when somebody says you need blogs and videos and I would highly question that, because odds are that your ideal audience has a typical way of consuming content. And if you have a preferred way of creating content, you really want to find out how those two roads can meet, so that you're putting all of your effort into something that's going to provide the most amount of feedback for you.
Yeah, and I've had one marketer that we had, they're like, what we could do is TikTok's working great. You should get on TikTok. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. And that was a little challenging. And then Clubhouse, I think, was one.
Mhm.
And, not that I'm saying those are bad or good, but I'm like, I can't be on everything. I don't want to be on everything. And my wife is an introvert. She's like, I wouldn't have Facebook if I didn't have a business. And that, I think it's just knowing who you are as well and the business that you want to create
Exactly. Which
is,
all comes back to that strategy. And as soon as you have that strategy in place, you learn where you can say yes to certain things, and you get to say no to many, many, many other
yeah.
things.
Because I was like, yeah, all right, thanks. I don't even like video watching besides, or at least TikTok videos. I do
And
watch.
here we are making videos. And
You,
somebody can go through and edit something and make a TikTok video for you.
maybe I'm sure they could, and then they'll add a filter, or, whatever.
Exactly.
But that's not my role. That I can't even figure out Instagram. Again, I'm not very good at even Excel. So how could I do Instagram? That's why you have to have
Outsource,
support
outsource,
around it.
outsource.
So thanks, Michelle, for being here.
Thank you.
Anything you want to leave our audience with before we go?
Absolutely. So if you are brand new to the entrepreneurial world, congratulations. We love it. Welcome to the insane community that we are creating of entrepreneurs. You do need to be a special kind of crazy to be here, but you will find your tribe. It is awesome. And if part of your brain goes, God, it's got to be easier than this, you're probably right. And it's just a matter of finding the support that you need to be able to help you to create your business with ease and effortless in order to create the freedom that you desire.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Michelle. I'm hoping
Thank
lots of
you.
people come and find you so they can break through to a smart, stable financial future, not just in their finances, but in everything else that goes into running a healthy business. So thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, write a comment, and tell Michelle hi. Have a good one.